It wasn't about she didn't want her. She wanted to see Kinsleigh dead. That was her goal. I don't want any more kids to have to die because of the failure of the system. It's not right. She was in her home, and she was safe, and she was loved, and she was handed back to her abuser.
When she came to us the second time, she was bruised from head to toe. She had clumps
of hair
messing throughout her whole head.
And she was given back.
And she had already tried to starve her to death when she was 3 weeks old. And they gave her back.
For lighting the dark, now go shed your light in someone else's heart.
This is the tragic story of Kinsleigh Welty, a 5-year-old little girl from Indianapolis, Indiana, whose life was cut short in the most horrific way imaginable. Law enforcement officials were called to her residence on Denver Drive in Indianapolis on April 9, 2024, following a report of an unresponsive child. They found 5-year-old Kinsleigh in a state that would shock even the most seasoned officers. Before we begin, since this case does involve children, as always, viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to the Murder She Shed. My name is Holly. Make sure you smash that subscribe button in order to find me in this big YouTube world. I mean, a girl could get lost in here, and I often do. I also want to thank you guys. I've almost reached 10,000 subscribers, which when I started this, I never even dreamed I would be even at 10,000. I mean, I just did this kind of as a hobby after I retired, and it became something that, that just got in my heart. These children just got in my heart, and I decided just to keep doing it. Kinsleigh was born to mother TONI McClure and father Bradley Welty on December 3rd, 2018 in Indianapolis. She enjoyed making people laugh. Kinsleigh was a fan of Paw Patrol and Bubble Guppy's cartoon shows and enjoyed playing dress-up and getting her hair done. It's a little princess. While driving in the car, she always enjoyed singing along to Taylor Swift's song, You Need to Calm Down. Kinsleigh had lived with her grandparents on her father's side when she was just 3 weeks old because of neglect. In December 2018, her mother TONI had gone to the hospital with a medical issue, and police made a visit to her home and then discovered several children there. A 1-year-old and 3-week-old Kinsleigh was discovered with completely full diapers while the kids ran and crawled around the floor littered with garbage, dirt, and cigarette butts. The toilet had fecal matter that had never been cleaned off. The infants were also playing with old potatoes near a filthy couch, dirty mattress, and full ashtray. Worse, they were well within reach of expired moldy food and sharp objects. It appeared the trash had never been taken out, and gnats were flying all over the kitchen and living room. Authorities declared the home as one of the worst living conditions they had ever seen. And they had these children in here living on the floor that was filth. Even at 3 weeks old, Kinsleigh was already malnourished with filth on her head and hands. TONI and her father Bradley were arrested. TONI was charged with 4 counts of child neglect and Bradley was charged with 2. TONI eventually pled guilty to 1 count and was sentenced to 900 days in jail. She had her sentence suspended after just 6 weeks and was given 540 days of probation instead. Even after that, at some point, Kinsleigh was given back to her mother after she already neglected her. Then another welfare check in 2021, Kinsleigh was bruised from head to toe. She had chunks of hair missing throughout her whole head. She was put into foster care and also lived with her grandparents again. But due to DCS not presenting the case properly, along with evidence, the courts had no choice but to give her back to her mother again and to dismiss this case. Since October of 2023, people called DCS to report abuse, but nothing was done. And this time, Kinsleigh's life would end at the hands of 3 individuals. 2 of the 3 was living in the home at 6519 Denver Drive. And one of those individuals was Kinsleigh's own grandmother, her own mom, her own grandmother, people that are supposed to love her and take care of her and protect her. On April 9th, just after 5:15 p.m., officers with the Indianapolis Police Department arrived at the residence on Denver Drive in response to a report about an unresponsive child. Kinsleigh appeared to arriving officers to be malnourished. Kinsleigh was covered in bite marks, had feces in her hair and on her feet, and had lice crawling on her face and head. Kinsleigh's eyes were sunken. Kinsleigh's hair had been cut short and was very thin. Medical personnel at Raleigh Hospital had concern for malnourishment and other neglect-related issues due to the initial observation of Kinsleigh's body. It was advised that Kinsleigh weighed more at 2.5 years old than what she had just weighed in at 5 years old. She weighed only 21 pounds at 5 years old. Only a short time later, she was pronounced dead from malnutrition. TONI immediately started lying, trying to protect herself, claiming that she had just picked Kinsleigh up from her father Bradley's house, who she had been staying with for about a month and a half, she claimed. They had split about 4 years earlier. TONI stated that she spoke to Kinsleigh regularly during that time, but it was only through audio phone calls. TONI explained that Bradley had called her and told her that she needed to take Kinsleigh back, because he could not keep Kinsleigh due to a work obligation, which I don't even know why she lied about this, because DCS had been at her house, earlier in the month, and she had said that Kinsleigh was with her grandparents. So she and Bradley met at McDonald's and she picked Kinsleigh up. TONI stated that Kinsleigh entered the vehicle and took off the hood of her coat, and then she observed that Kinsleigh's hair had been cut and was matted and hard. She observed a bruise on the side of her face, and she noticed significant weight loss. She stated Kinsleigh had complained of pain to her head and legs, and that her legs were trembling. After arriving home, she had to carry Kinsleigh into the house. TONI stated she put Kinsleigh down, and she immediately collapsed inside of the house. TONI said she began CPR on Kinsleigh at that time. While performing CPR, Kinsleigh had a lot of liquid that was coming out of her mouth, and she just kept gargling. TONI stated she eventually called for 911 services and continued CPR until medical personnel arrived at the house. TONI could not provide an address of the home where Kinsleigh had supposedly been living with her father, nor did she even have his phone number. TONI stated Kinsleigh had previously been diagnosed with mild dwarfism and a floppy trachea. She said that caused the food that Kinsleigh ate to be trapped in her lungs. TONI stated Kinsleigh was put on a feeding tube for some time, but Raleigh Hospital removed it when she was around 2 years old, using this as an additional excuse for her malnutrition. TONI lived in the home on Denver Drive with her boyfriend Ryan Smith. They'd been together about a year. It was discovered that Bradley had not seen the children for some time. When police searched the home, they observed a back bedroom with bunk beds that appeared to belong to the two boys. They noticed a small closet had been blocked with a large dresser. They moved the dresser away from the door. They opened the closet door and immediately smelled the strong odor of urine and feces that poured out from the interior of the closet. Authorities then observed what appeared to be human fecal matter on the carpeted floor and along the walls of the closet. There were small clothing items that appeared to belong to a young female child. These clothing items were heavily soiled. There had been what appeared to be small handprints on the interior of the closet door. These handprints appeared to be marked with the fecal matter. Additionally, there were 3 Ensure protein bottles that were emptied on the floor of the closet. They observed what was discovered to be white bread with peanut butter laid on the floor. The sandwich had not been eaten. The bread was noted to be dry and hard, but it appeared otherwise fresh since there was no mold found on the sandwich. Authorities then observed what appeared to be more human feces that was located with a hot dog bun underneath one of the clothing items. The closet was measured to be approximately 5 by 3. They also located a vacuum with what appeared to be feces inside of the vacuum canister. TONI explained the urine and feces in the closet away by saying one of her boys would use the closet as a bathroom. An additional interview was done at the police station in which TONI admitted that she had lied to detectives about the version of events with Bradley. She admitted that she was Kinsleigh's primary caregiver and her mother Tammy helped her. She even stated that right before Kinsleigh died, DCS had been at the home They'd been at the house because her and Ryan's newborn had tested positive for pot. She told DCS that Kinsleigh was at her grandmother's, but really, Kinsleigh had been asleep underneath a blanket in the closet. DCS had also just been to the house a month earlier, and they took a picture of Kinsleigh, and they did not express any concern for her at that time. TONI said her and Kinsleigh did not have a bond, and she knew Kinsleigh was in bad shape, but chose not to get medical help for her because she didn't want her other children to be taken away. She then admitted to keeping Kinsleigh in the closet for a few months. TONI stated Kinsleigh was let out of the closet every day for a short time when she went somewhere, but she did spend most of the time in the closet. It was so normal for Kinsleigh that when they returned from their trip, wherever they went, she would just go straight back into the closet on her own. TONI stated it was just easier to keep Kinsleigh in the closet because she did not have to deal with her while she was in there. I'm going to tell you some more disturbing stuff, just a warning. Kinsleigh would sit in the closet and talk to herself. Kinsleigh would yell for her and tell her she is hungry and thirsty. This was the only communication between her and her mother. TONI explained how she recently struck Kinsleigh in the face with her hand because Kinsleigh bit her arm. TONI knew that the way she had treated Kinsleigh was likely to lead to her death, but she said, "I did not want to believe that would happen." TONI stated she did the bare effing minimum for Kinsleigh, and she expressed the desire for Kinsleigh to be out of her life. She also stated she had wished that Kinsleigh was never born and had given up on her. She was done with her. She'd just totally given up on her. Can't imagine giving up on your kids. It doesn't matter what my kids do. I never give up on them. You love kids unconditionally. Some people just weren't made to be mothers, and apparently she is one of them. TONI explained that she had only been providing Kinsleigh one small meal a day. TONI also stated she did not know Kinsleigh had the lice until she began the CPR and just assumed that it was feces in her hair prior to the CPR. Like that's any better. TONI stated a few weeks back she cut Kinsleigh's hair because of the feces in her hair. TONI explained that she never looked at Kinsleigh close enough to see the bugs on Kinsleigh. Kinsleigh's brother said while they eat pizza, Kinsleigh would get bread in the closet. They said she slept on the floor and pooped in the closet, that she begged for drinks but was barely given any. Both boyfriend Ryan and Grandma Tammy claimed TONI told her that Kinsleigh had drowned. Ryan had been living with TONI, like I said, for about a year and knew that Kinsleigh was being put in that closet. Ryan stated that Kinsleigh's grandma, TONI, would watch her on the weekends. He also said Tammy took Kinsleigh because Kinsleigh did not always go with them to family ventures. He said Kinsleigh was not allowed to be around his family because she had told them that his father told her to pull down her pants. Ryan stated that this was not true. TONI decided it would be best to put Kinsleigh in the closet because it was safer from everyone else. He said she started to put Kinsleigh in the closet around Thanksgiving of 2023. Ryan stated in the last 3 to 4 months, he had only observed Kinsleigh out of the closet about 10 times. TONI would let Kinsleigh out periodically for about an hour or two, but she would have to go right back into that closet. He said that about 4 or 5 months ago, he became upset with TONI about the way Kinsleigh looked and acted. Ryan expressed to TONI that she needed help because she had lost too much weight, and threatened that he would call 911 if Kinsleigh did not get help. He knew that TONI was scared to get Kinsleigh help because she did not want to get in trouble. Ryan would sometimes clean the closet, but he said that he had not done it for about a month. He stated when he last saw the condition of the closet, he thought, "Oh my God." Ryan explained there were piles of feces in the corner. Ryan told Kinsleigh to quit pooping on the floor and then they could change this. I mean, how can you quit pooping on the floor if you're never allowed to go out to go to the bathroom? Ryan stated he did not seek any medical attention for Kinsleigh because of his love for TONI. When Kinsleigh's grandmother Tammy was interviewed, she said that while Kinsleigh was staying the night at her home, in order for her to get sleep, she had to tie Kinsleigh to the bed. She stated that she did this because Kinsleigh would not stay in bed as she wanted to get up and eat and drink. Imagine that, the child was starving to death. She didn't get nothing at home. Apparently, she didn't get nothing at grandmother's either. Tammy stated she first discovered that TONI was putting Kinsleigh into the closet just before Christmas of 2023. Tammy said she observed fecal matter on the wall inside the closet at that time. Tammy also stated she learned from Toni that Kinsleigh had escaped the closet, and Toni had put a gate inside of that little closet to prevent Kinsleigh from getting to the door. Tammy explained that she had watched Kinsleigh a lot during the summer of 2023. Tammy said she used duct tape to try and keep Kinsleigh from getting up at night. Tammy stated she first put the duct tape over her legs and taped it to the bed covers. But she said Kinsleigh was able to get out of it, so she put more duct tape over the top of her shoulders, upper legs, and lower legs. She then taped it to the bed covers again. Tammy stated that after about 20 to 30 minutes, Kinsleigh was moving out of it, so she just ripped up the duct tape. Tammy blamed Toni for all of the punishments, and through messages on the cell phone, it was found out that she was more involved in Kinsleigh's abuse than she was admitting. Tammy's Facebook Messenger conversation with Toni included references to withholding food from Kinsleigh, controlling her intake of certain items, as well as Kinsleigh's desire to eat and drink items without permission. There were also a number of discussions about locking the refrigerator, cabinets, and generally preventing access to food. Now we're going to go through those text messages, and they are disturbing. On May 31st, 2023, Toni messages Tammy. Kinsleigh was out of the effing closet, sitting on B's old bed. This is Toni's son. Tammy responded, put something in front of it. Toni, I just asked P, the other son, if he let her out, and he said no. And I asked if she was already out when he went up there, and he said yeah. She got into the sugar-free wafers. Tammy texts, put something in front so she can't push the door. Toni replied, I did. Tammy texts, you're going to have to keep her home one weekend just to show her you mean business. Toni replied, she hates being smacked on her belly, just so you know. Tammy, oh, I know. On May 1st, 2023, Toni messaged Tammy a photo of Kinsleigh crouching down next to a couch. Tammy responds, what the F is she doing? Toni replied, hiding drinking Key's cup. Tammy responds, tell her she's going tomorrow, and I'm not clear what they refer to as to where Kinsleigh would be going. Tammy then responds, did you not wrap her ass up? Toni replies, yes, I did, and she got out. Tammy texts, damn, do it tighter. On July 7th, 2023, Toni messaged Tammy about asking her to stay in a hotel room and watch the children. Tammy tells Toni she doesn't want to, and then texts, it's the no sleep. I have to work on Monday. Toni replied, do your duct tape thing to sleep. I won't ask again. On September 20th, 2023, Toni messages Tammy. She figured it out, Tammy replied. What? Toni texts. She has damn near got that door pushed open. Tammy texts, tape her ass down. On October 6, 2023, Toni messaged Tammy. She broke the lock on the door, and the shit that was in her pants she shoved under the couch. Tammy later responds, tie her effing ass up. On October 9, 2023, Toni messaged Tammy. Do you want to keep Kinsleigh so we can go to the store and buy a new lock for the door? And I'll bring P in the morning. Tammy replied, I was going to tell you I could take you, but you said he wanted to go. So nope, nope, nope. I'm assuming she's referring to Ryan, but I'm not sure. Toni replied she would bring P around 7 and he sees the eye doctor around noon. Toni, referring to Kinsleigh, texts, come on. Take one for the freaking team, man. You do your method and it works. Can't do that here, laughing face emojis. I'll clean her up first, skull and crossbones emojis. Then on October 16, 2023, Toni messages. She's pissed on the floor. She has the closet smelling terrible. Got into Bradley's drink and spilled it everywhere. Tammy replied, son of a B, I don't understand. Throughout the messages located on Tammy's Facebook thread with Toni, there are repeated references to Kinsleigh's appearance and hiding Kinsleigh from both the public and DCS. On January 2nd, 2024, Tammy asked Toni, am I keeping them here or your house? Toni replied, it doesn't matter as long as you promise. If them bitches show up, then you make them leave and tell them they're not welcome here. That's the only thing I worry about. I assume she is referring to DCS. On March 22nd, 2024, Tammy messages Toni. DCS showed up again. Toni texts, I guess we need to figure out a day where you can take Kinsleigh and I can deal with it. But I really just don't want to. On April 9, 2024, Toni messaged Tammy. So I don't have much in my fridge or my cabinets, but DCS is coming out today. As soon as I get B, so I don't know what to do with her. The bitch didn't even make sense. Call me on your lunch. On text, the pair also referred to Kinsleigh as evil, demon, dipshit, dummy, chunkers, and heifer. Even though Grandma looks like a heifer, chunky heifer. She's calling the little granddaughter a heifer. Sorry, I'm fixing to be a grandma, and it's really angered me. It just angered me. I'm going to be grandma and a little girl, and for a grandma to act like this, I mean, I'm not excusing a mom either. I don't know, it just blows my mind that either can be such horrible, evil people. Well, we do know where Toni learned her abusive side, like mother, like daughter. Toni stands accused of 2 counts of murder and 1 count each of neglect of a dependent, resulting in death, battery, and criminal confinement. Ryan stands accused of 3 counts of neglect of a dependent, resulting in death, and 1 count of criminal confinement. Tammy was initially charged with 1 count of neglect of a dependent, resulting in death, but after they saw the Facebook messages, she was given other charges. Now, Kinsleigh's so-called grandmother stands accused of 1 count each of criminal confinement, failure to make a report, neglect of a dependent resulting in death, neglect of a dependent resulting in injury, neglect of a dependent resulting in bodily injury, neglect of a dependent, and 3 counts of neglect of a dependent resulting in serious bodily injury. I literally felt sick after researching this case, especially knowing DCS had time after time to help this baby and did nothing. I mean, good Lord, they were there on the visit the day Kinsleigh passed away. It's just so aggravating, the whole system, how it's made that our children can't be protected, and that's what they're supposedly there for. And yet, children are slipping through the system several times. She had already been neglected and abused several times. And here we go again. And it ends up with beautiful little girls dead. I wish we knew what more to do to help these children. But I do think awareness and getting these cases out there helps us see the signs and maybe helps us to be able to speak up and know when a child may be being abused. Anyway, that's pretty much it for today. I gotta go take family photos. My mother-in-law wants us big group of family photos. I don't really want to, but we got to go do that. So, sorry, Simon, you're not gonna be in the family photos. Anyway, we love y'all. Hope you have a blessed weekend. Who knows, the weekend may be over by the time I get these out. I try my best, guys. All right, love y'all. Bye. You just belch on the mic. You and your belching kill me. All right, let's go.
I tried to make you mine, but your love I can't hold, and so I thank you, my angel, for lighting the dark. Now go shed your light in someone else's heart.